coming out there that the customer knows best, scrub it out. Replace it to the customer knows shite. They don't. They need you to tell them. They need you to put them through that journey where they can, I can see that and I have to and I must buy this product. Don't fear if you overcommit, because there are ways around it. Don't fear that you've put so much of your lifeblood and soul into it. You should be telling that in your story. Don't fear that you might mess up the first line, because there's still another 100 lines out there that you can cast your net over. And don't worry if you have started in the wrong target market, because what happens is through your networking and through your feedback and through your research, you will start to open your markets. But if you start with fear, you'll end up with fear. If you try to sell with fear, you won't sell nothing at all, apart from, please don't buy this from me, because I don't know what I'm doing.com. So, let me give you some rules. And these aren't mine, okay? That's why I've... this one, it's not passing, it's an American version called parking law. There is no such thing as a GCSE in sales, but when I started in the industry, I was 18. I was a nervous guy, and my first gig was working for an IT mail order company, and I was given a stack of paper this high, and it was for RJ45 cables. Does everyone know what an RJ45 cable is? Yeah? Do you know what my job was? I had to ring this number, pick up the phone and say, hi, you inquired about an RJ45 cable, would you like to buy it? That's all my job was. They say no, I'll put the phone down, go on to the next one. Yes, okay, you can buy it. Rubbish job. But you know what happened? After about a week of doing it, I got bored of saying the same thing. So I'd ring up someone and I'd start having a conversation with them. And I say, look, you put this order in for an RJ45. Do you really need it? Do you really want it? Is it something that's absolutely necessary? Do you need 2 meters? Do you need 7 meters? Do you need 100 meters? What do you need? And slowly I started to create what we call a relationship with the audience. And my sales, funny enough, started to go up. So up that within 6 weeks of working there, they turned around and said, would you want a job as an account manager rather than an outbound salesperson? And I said, yeah, all right, no problem. So I was working for a mail order company, selling IT products to random people who look through catalogs and say, this is the kind of stuff that I want. But one thing I was really good at is building relationships. And this is what the first one does. Parking law. Parking law is all about probing, and I don't mean pointing the finger at someone or sort of going, how fat are you? It's about aligning, raising and closing, and then the golden rule of listen and wait. And we'll talk this through. So when you start a conversation, or if you're engaging into sales, the first thing you need to do is probe, because there's no point trying to oversell something to someone that's already convinced. Because you know what, if I say to you, you must go to that restaurant and eat, because I had a wonderful experience, you're 9 times more willing to try it because I've recommended it than if you kept walking past it day in, day out. Or to the fact that you see, like in the summer, if you walk out onto South Bank now, all these flipping restaurants are over flooded. That's because the weather's great. But what will you look for? The one that's the most busiest. And even though you know you're going to have an hour to wait for that restaurant, you still go there. Why? Because you're associating success with it. You think, oh my God, these people are all enjoying themselves. I've got to have that. You're doing this subconsciously without even knowing. This is what parking law does. You probe, you probe, you probe. You get all those pain points out of people. Then you align and raise so they can start to see all those people doing alfresco dining near the riverbank on a summer and say, that's exactly what I want to do. And when you get them to that point, you'll see their whole facial expression light up. And when you do that, in the back of your head, I've got you, sucker. Next victim, off. And all we're doing is the psychology of sales. I'm not a psychologist, I can barely spell it. I'm not a scientist. I didn't finish university. I kind of dribbed through college as well. So I'm just going to take you through some areas that I want you to think about when you're building your pitches, when you're thinking about going out and presenting your product. The next time you've got to stand in front of a client and think, oh my God, what if they don't like my product and they hate me and they're going to tell the rest of the world? It's simple. Sales is a psychology. The primal desire leads to the impulse to purchase. You've got to get down to why is it that this person would buy this product. Not why would you buy the product, because you're biased. I'll buy the product because it's mine, it's the best. Why? What's the primal desire that this person should buy this? Because you know what, when you touch and you tweak on that, that's when you get triggers to buy. Even when the person's saying, shall I buy it or not? Shall I buy it or not? Shall I buy it or not? You've triggered them on their primal desire. Let me tell you something. Consumers are not always interested in what they gain, but they will fear what they'll lose. And what I'm telling you is almost instilling scare tactics. This is what car manufacturers used to do back in the late 90s. In the late 90s, they used to come out with images of crashes of cars, and then they would say that we've got the most safest car in the world. They're still doing it to you now. How many of you watch those stupid brush your teeth and the blood falls out of the mouth? And all of a sudden she comes downstairs and she's looking really nice, and then she goes like that and a toothsmith, and you think, I ain't having that. But what are they doing? They're instilling fear into you. Can you afford to lose your teeth? If not, you better buy Corsadol or whatever it is to save your teeth. I'm not saying you've got to instill the fear of God, but you've got to build in this anticipation that if they don't buy this, they could risk losing something. I do that at Enterprise Lab sometimes through colleges. Can you afford not to have your students go through an employability program where they may get a job? Not really. The cost of that is so high, I'm only asking for this. So remember, consumers are not always interested in what they gain, but the fear of what they could lose. You buy so much of what you do on the fear of losing something. And unfortunately, those that make a lot of money in selling these products to you is all based around communicating the fear to you. Just think about it. Think about how many adverts come on telly or on the radio. I mean, HMRC came out with a great one. You know, the one, it wasn't even visual, it's chilling. You know, you might have heard it on radio where you hear the guy walking and knocking on the door and he says, yeah, if you haven't paid your taxes or claimed all your income, we're after you. And I'm like thinking, God, when was the last time I did my returns? You know, it triggers into your head. Now, they haven't got anything to sell to you, they're just warning you to do something. But what have they done? They're trying to instill the fear of God onto you. And what does that do? It makes you take action. The amount of action consumers take when they're scared. You know what? There's a heat wave coming, so Tesco runs out of burgers and ice cubes. Why? How many flipping barbecues are you going to do? You know, there's a flood comes, so I've got to buy milk for 6 months. People panic buy because they think that's what they've got to do. And what you're doing is you're using that thread of fear to get them closer to the finish line. When I introduced kinesiology tape here into the UK in 2010, the only place that was used in some high-end physios. In fact, I did some research and I found that physiotherapists from the Premier League were flying to the US with empty suitcases and filling up the trunk full of this product. Does everyone know what a kinesiology tape is? No. Yeah? Let me just very, very quickly explain it to you. How many of you sprained your ankle? How many of you sprained your ankle?
Yep.
Done your twist your knee. What happens is when you sprain your ankle, it swells up. That's because the muscles actually moved into a particular way which is blocking the channel in the gut for your water, which means water gets retained and you get this swelling point, which means you can't move. What the tape does is it holds your muscle in the right place, allowing the gutter to flush water in and out, allowing for earlier mobilization, which thus allows you for earlier ambulation, which means your recovery rate is a lot faster. So that's a kind of a 30-second dip into what kinesiology is. I told you I'm from the healthcare environment, so. So when I found this, I went in and started asking physios. I said, why are you going all the way to the US to buy this product? And they go, because it's not available here. I said, well, what does it do for you guys? You know, he says, well, we use it to earlier ambulate our footballers. So when I got this forward, the first sample test we did was with Gareth Bale at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Not that I hate Well, I hate Spurs anyway, but that's another matter. But Gareth Bale was great because he was having repetitive problems with his calf and his thighs. So we gave this product to them. We said, why don't you try this? And then what we actually identified through doing that kind of trial is the typical types of questions we need to start asking people about how long it takes for them to get mobilized when they have these injuries, what's the cost in time and work and money and energy to them, which allowed us, when we went to go and do pitches in other places, to start asking those questions, to create the pain points, which allows us to align our products to. So what you're actually doing is asking questions to raise the pain factor in your customer base that allows you to align your solution to it. It's understanding what works for you. Where is your product selling most? Why is it selling most there? Don't stop doing that. Keep doing it. People think, oh my God, all right, I can relax now. Do you know what? We're coming up to all these stuff. Sales is not about getting there and just, sitting back. You've got to keep the mill churning. You have to keep it going round and round and round. Because you know what? You've got competitors. Do you know what? Eventually, if the customer starts losing that experience that they're getting, that they're the only people in the world that you'd ever sell to, they might get switched off. So once you start this treadmill, unfortunately, you're going to keep running it. But that's where you start to build a team to manage your sales for you. That also allows you to then also digress into other markets or other sectors. Just you don't have to tell me about your business, but is it a product or service?
It's both.
Okay. Sector?
Recycling.
Is in recycling. So you could actually have 3 or 4 various levels or layers of customers here that you could be working from. Yeah. Okay. So it's understanding which one you're going to go to first. Is it, or is it the fact that you're going to market to the bottom and sell to the top? Because then, so think about all the different digressions. It's like, how can I say it? Cat food. How many see that Whiskers adverts and what is it? What's the other one that comes on? Felix. You always see these adverts. What cat is ever going to buy cat food? Huh? What cat's ever going to tell you that I love that rabbit and whatever cat food that you give me? But these cat food adverts still keep coming in. I mean, there must be some very smart cats that watch the TV that then kind of pour to their owner. But the point of it is, it's a product for someone else, which is marketed to someone else. And what they do is they're getting pain points and they're getting pleasure points by showing how wonderful the cat owner is to their cat for giving them some vile-looking food on a little plastic pot tray. Or these Caesar, the dog one, there's a bloke eating cheese and a dog eating Caesars. What I'm trying to say is the impact is here, but the customer who benefits is here. But the marketing still runs. Children's toy. Any of you got kids? Any of you got kids? Never leave them on Boomerang or Nickelodeon or anything like this. It's a bastard channel, I tell you. My kids, I've got a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. The pair of them watch this thing now, and what do? They secretly market toys to them.
Yep. Yeah. It's Nickelodeon.
Yep. It's bad. It's not even that. Some of them say, get your parents to buy it for you now. And I'm like, this is wrong.
You haven't got a choice though, have you? You haven't got the kids, they don't give you a choice.
Yeah, because do you know what? They're staunch negotiators. They know. They just, I want it. And you're like, shut up, I'll buy it for you, all right? But the point of it is, they market through to them in a way that then gets advertised back up to us. And it's the kids that are doing the sales, not the company.